What's the NFC East title mean to you, Jason?
Well, it's important. It's the first goal that you have, the first tangible goal that you have with your team is you want to win the division first and get in the playoffs. So we accomplished that goal, and certainly proud to be a part of our group. From ownership to our coaching staff, our personnel people, and most especially our players, the commitment they've made going all the way back. In this season, starting all the way back in probably February, but for a lot of guys in our team, that journey started well before that. So certainly something I think we can be proud of. But hopefully it's just the start of something.
Considering that you were 3-5 almost 2 months ago, how hard was it just to get to this stage?
Yeah, again, I think like we talked about at the outset of the year, we had a very young team, and I thought we did some good things early on in the season, but we did some things that weren't quite as good too, and we seemed to be a little inconsistent. We didn't seem to know how to handle success and adversity well within games and from week to week. And I think after that Tennessee game, I think we just got a better understanding of that. If you look at that stretch of games after that game, they're all hard fought. They all went down to the wire, and I just think we did a better job of that. I thought we did a better job with our mental toughness within ball games to handle success and keep playing, fight through some of the adversity, understand it's a 60-minute game. You just got to keep playing, and to me, that's been the difference with our team.
Why do you think you learned some of those lessons in that game?
I think you learn in real life. I think if you look at how that Tennessee game started, I don't know that we could have practiced better during the bye. I don't know that we could have gotten off to a better start in that game. But there was about 2:30 to go in the first quarter, and we were up and down the field. We were taking the ball away, and then they just kind of turned the momentum on us. And we didn't handle it very well. We couldn't get off the field on defense. We couldn't do what we needed to do offensively. So we didn't handle the success very well, the adversity very well. And that's a real-life experience that we all had. We all had to live with it and understand how to do it better. I think we improved in that area immensely.
Talk about the defense again today, creating turnovers. Just fantastic.
Yeah, they were fantastic. And obviously that's a high-powered offense. The quarterback, when he gets going, is awfully tough to stop. 13 is a big-time player. 11, the other receivers, they're tight ends. I got a really good runner, and they can be really prolific offensively. And I think we saw glimpses of that during the game. But I thought our guys continued to fight and battle. And like you said, the turnovers were huge. Randy knocking it out and Jalen picking it up and running it in was just obviously a huge, huge play in the game. And then the other one, we get a chance to pick a fumble up and give our offense the ball on the 4-yard line going in. I mean, that's a big play. It's a one-score game at the time. Thought our offense did a good job in that sudden change situation, knocking it in and really separating ourselves in the ball game. But I thought they fought hard, they battled hard, they're around the quarterback, they stopped the run, they defended the pass. But those big plays were huge in changing the game.
What about us an update on Tyrone?
He had his scan and he had an MRI, and the reports back from both of those, they were negative, which is a positive thing for him. And my understanding at late notice here is that he was leaving the hospital and hopefully going home. So obviously a very scary thing. One of the most well-respected guys I've been around. And so our thoughts are with him, but the news has been good initially.
Along that same lines, how did you try to manage that situation at all with your team? Because a lot of guys obviously were upset when it happened, but you managed to keep it together.
Yeah, it's a challenging situation because obviously it becomes very much of a life situation. Someone you care about, someone you love very much is on a stretcher. And they're taking him off, and they're taping his helmet down to the board. I mean, that's a challenging situation. But now you're asking your players to go back out and play. And I think our guys handled it really well and just put that behind us. Again, we love him, we care about him, and very fortunate for him that the news is good right now.
Talk about the goal line stand where you stopped Winston at the 1.
Yeah, it was big. Big sequence in the game, 2-touchdown game at that point. So critical for us to be able to make a stop down there. And I think if you look at those drives, a number of times we made stops and there was a penalty that kept the drive going. There was a lot of different things to overcome. And at some point you just got to buckle down and you got to continue to make stops and get off the field. And I think our defense has done a very good job of that all year long. Some signature drives have happened for us. And I think when you get in those situations, you can draw on those experiences. One play at a time, let's make a stop, everybody do their job. And we did in that situation, and that was huge.
What do you think of your red zone performance today?
Some of it was good, some of it wasn't good enough. I think we settled for at least one field goal down there. The fade to Gallup was a big play for us. So obviously you want to knock all those in. But you just keep banging away at them. And I thought that sequence was huge. After we got the takeaway and gave us the ball on the 4-yard line, would have been big. It was big for us to be able to cash in and score a touchdown there.
Speaking of penalties, Jason, How do you coach your defense with the way these rules are interpreted differently every game on what's a legal hit and what isn't?
Well, you just try to understand the rules as best you can, and you try to coach them as well as you can based on the experience you've had. So, we'll go back and look at those. I don't think it's a good idea for me to get into the officiating. Obviously, a highly officiated game. We knew that coming in. But that's one of the things you have to overcome in a game like that. You might make some good plays. They take away from you. You just got to keep battling. I thought our team did a good job of that.
What's your assessment of Gregory's performance today, especially in light of the penalties he suffered in recent weeks and earlier today before making some of these plays?
Yeah, hard for me to know play-by-play until we watch the tape, but he certainly showed up big time. Knocking the ball out from Winston and giving Jalen a chance to pick it up and return it, as big a play as we had all game long. And, again, it goes back to that relentless spirit. You keep playing, you keep playing. They extended the play. He wasn't going to quit on the play. And, again, that was the signature play of the game. And then, the recovery was a big-time play. Thought he rushed well from what I could tell, was around the quarterback, pushing the pocket. So, Randy's had some plays that people seem to want to identify, but, in-house, to see him improve as much as he has over the course of the season and become a more complete player, defending the run, being around the quarterback, on top of some of the signature sacks he's made, we're lucky to have him and love his approach and respect him a great deal.
Like Antoine and Malik were pretty active today. Just your thoughts on how they played inside?
Yeah, it was going to be important in this game to stop the run. We couldn't allow them to be multi-dimensional offensively. And, they have a really good runner, and they can run the football. And so, those guys stepped up inside, particularly when you lose Tyrone early on in the ball game. All of a sudden it goes from an 8-man rotation to a 7-man rotation, and guys are going to play some more snaps and maybe play some different spots than maybe they anticipated coming into the ball game. So those guys have showed up consistently well all year long, and today was no different.
2015, you took Randy in the second round with some questions. 2016, Jalen, second round with some questions. Is there any symbolism that those two guys hook up on such a big play?
Well, we took those guys with our eyes wide open and understanding what kind of players we thought they could be. We recognized there was some risk, and we thought we could put a structure around Randy to help him. And I give Randy Gregory a tremendous amount of credit for what he's done off the field to get himself an opportunity to come back and continue to play. And he's worked very hard at this. It's not an easy thing, and we've certainly been supportive of him organizationally, the coaches, his teammates. But he deserves a tremendous amount of credit for getting himself back to this position. And I would say the same thing about Jalen, a different kind of a challenge, but he had a very serious knee injury that many people thought would prevent him from ever playing football again. But he worked very hard day in and day out for a long time. And if you're on a journey like that, it's a lonely existence. Day after day after day, the team is working. You're by yourself again, and again, trying to work your way back. And it's a very inspirational story for me. Literally, when I'm talking about it right now, the hair stands up on my neck because tremendous journey. A lot of people helped him, but tremendous amount of credit to him. His persistence, his toughness to get himself back, and he's a hell of a football player, and we're lucky to have him.
Well, I know we've talked about this a lot, Jason, but Van Der Esch just continues to get better and better every game.
He sure does. And his ability to transition from college football to pro football at that position is as smooth as I've been around. And he's a very instinctive player, very athletic player, got a really good feel for the game. He's tough, he's smart, and he has a way of being around the football a lot. And, at the end of the ball game, in-house, when we field our ground ball onside kicks every Friday, he's the guy that's got the best hands. So when it went in his direction, I think everybody felt pretty good about it. And, again, he was able to cash in on that play. So a good football player is getting better by the week.
What were your thoughts on Dak today?
I thought he did some really good things in the game. It wasn't perfect for us offensively, just like it wasn't perfect for us defensively or in the kicking game. But he continues to lead this football team and do the critical things at the critical moments to allow us to win ball games. And, again, such a well-respected guy. I thought he executed at some really important moments in the ball game to allow us to score points and ultimately win this game. So I love him. Our coaches love him. His teammates love him. And, again, we're lucky to have him as our quarterback.
Coming off a shutout last week, and then I think you only had 22 offensive snaps in the first half. Was it just difficult to get a rhythm and kind of get traction there and talk about if you felt you were able to fight through that?
Yeah, obviously the first drive was really good. We drove right down the field and scored a touchdown. That was a positive thing. And then I think on their next possession, we got the sack fumble, and Jalen ran it back. So, I felt like the offense did a good job with the opportunities they got. And then I thought we had a couple series where we weren't able to convert, a couple third and relatively shorts. So you got to convert those to keep drives alive. But I thought our guys were persistent. A really important drive in the game was after the goal line stand to be able to dig the ball out of there. That can change the momentum if you go 3 and out in that situation. Thought we handled that really well. And then the situation at the end of the ball game when Zeke bounced it, it's the same kind of a situation. Being clean in situational football and executing those critical moments. Sometimes that stuff gets overlooked, but it's really, really important in the ball game.
What's the situation with Sean, with him being inactive today?
Yeah, Sean was going to probably play about the same amount that he played last week, 8, 10, 12 snaps at the most. And when Anthony Brown went down, we felt like we wanted to take Jordan Lewis off of some of the return responsibilities. So we brought Darius Jackson up, and Sean was the guy we pulled out of the lineup.
There's no health-wise, is he okay?
Yeah, he seems to be doing fine.
Well, Brett just continues to show you guys made the right decision in keeping him with the 59-yard field goal.
Yeah,
today.
it was a big kick, and obviously, after you see a guy kick one from 62, you have a little more confidence putting him back out there. But those aren't easy kicks, and he responded well, and those were important points for us before the half. So he's certainly done a very nice job for us.
Knowing that you've clinched the division going into this last game, what do you do with what are the conversations you have about some injured guys and maybe sitting them the last game of this season?
Yeah, if guys are injured, obviously they're not going to play. But if guys are able to play, we're going to play. We got to go win a ball game up in New York next week.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good to see you guys.